Hey everybody, happy Thursday evening. Welcome back to the Beading Dream stream. This is our second tutorial of the day. Typically, our Thursday tutorial would be a torch tutorial. However, I eschewed Torch Thursday in the favor of continuing with our 2 weeks of Halloween theme. So today's project, or this evening's project, is our crow's cage pendant. So this is this is the hi Dogsy. I'm so sorry you're tired, but thank you for getting on. So this is the first of the several tutorials that made my mom decide that I was a budding serial killer at the age of 43 and needed to go get help. The Barbie hand, I think, was what really did it for her. That's Saturday's tutorial, about which I am super excited. I love that project. But tonight is the crow's cage pendant. So let's talk tools and supplies, but let me just point something out first. So I had a really hard time, and you can see the camera is not. No, it's actually, it's not a cage for a corvus. It's a cage for corvus food. That was, for anybody who's not familiar with crow's cages, they were a medieval method of punishment and death where literally they just put you in a cage and hung you up, and then, you know, the crows would eat you as you were slowly dying of hunger and thirst. So, you know, super cheerful stuff there. But aesthetically, it's really cool. But you can see how my camera is not picking up really any of the detail here because there's not any contrast. So I'm going to go about fixing that on the one that I'm going to do this evening. Well, that thought ad. Okay. Got it. Okay, so what do you need? You're going to need a skull of some sort. So this is a carved bone skull. I got 2 of these. I didn't see Doc. That's hilarious. Okay, Corv, did the ad come in before or after I explained what crow's cages actually were? Because if you didn't get it, I feel like you should know this. But yeah, so some kind of a skull. Could be a bead. This one doesn't happen to be a bead. This one's just a carved skull, but you know, anything skull-like will work for this. Also, this method of caging will work for anything that's kind of bulbous and round. So, you know, it would work even for tumbled stones or anything like that. Okay, so Corvus did miss the explanation of what a crow's cage is. So crow's cage is a medieval punishment, torture, death device.
Is it similar to this?
Yeah, it is. Thank you. I will. Where they would basically just take the offending person and put them in a person-sized cage and hang them up from the top of the, you know, battlements or wherever, and then the crows would literally start eating them whilst they were dying of hunger and thirst. So, yeah. That's what a crow's cage is. So Heather just handed me this exact same wire wrapping method, but done on a rock. So exactly the same technique. This one has fewer wires. I'm actually going to try and use fewer wires on my project tonight than I did on my sample. But I do kind of, I mean, I like the cagey effect. It's kind of part of the charm. So we'll see how it goes. But this is the exact same technique, or very similar, done on a rock instead of a skeleton. There's your rock.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a different pass-through.
Well, I mean, there's a keyboard in the other one.
It's
okay,
true.
So in addition to your skull, you're going to need, if you want to put something fun in its eyes, you're going to need that. Once again, I did pearls in the eyes of this skull, and there's just not enough contrast, so I'm doing some little blue rhinestones tonight at Carol's wonderful suggestion. I'm going to need some wire. I'm going to try 20 gauge wire tonight. This was 24 gauge wire, and the problem here with my 24 gauge wire is it really didn't, like, it's only barely holding on. If I were to just push this a little bit from the back, it would probably separate the wires and pop right out, which is not the idea. I saw your text, Corvus. I had just started talking, so I will check my email
Oh
and
boy.
then somebody's gonna have to help me with how to put those things into Twitch. I'm just saying, Ace, if you're out there, we need to schedule a call. So yeah, so I'm going to use 20 instead of 24. We're going to see how that works. And you're going to need something to secure. If you're going to put rhinestones or pearls in your skull's eyes, you're going to need some sort of adhesive. Now, typically, I would use two-part epoxy, but since I want to actually do it on stream, I am using some CA glue. This is literally the same glue that I glue my nails on with. See? Kiss pink gel nail glue. But it's super glue, basically. Not typically what I would recommend, but this is a fairly low stress attachment point because there's a socket that's going to sit in. So as long as I can manage not to glue my fingers together, we should be good. I'm going to need my basic wire working tools. That's going to be my chain nose, my round nose, and my cutters. Oh, I hate that. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I will definitely use the shoving a pumpkin into a sneaker analogy because that's
Absolutely
hilarious. And then I'm also going to I want
it a tennis shoe like an American.
Oh, sorry. And then I want to, like I said, I want to detail out my skull a little bit, so I'm going to do that with a toothpick and a little bit of brown nail polish. I'm actually going to see, for a little while, auto exposure was my friend, and it and I were getting along so well, and then it started being a little bitch again. So that's, okay, we're going to see how that goes. Think. Okay, so I've just got a little ceramic tile here, and I have, oh crap. Be right back.
Uh-oh.
No polish is nail polish.
Oh.
The nail polish has nail polished itself shut.
So we got the biggest wrench in the world.
Well, to be fair, this is the only wrench that exists at Beading Dreams.
That's true.
I have other wrenches at my house, but that is not here. However, wow, that's intense.
Can I help in any way?
You're welcome to try. I think I might just need to get a different nail polish though, because that one is like sealed.
That is serious.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Plan B. Let's find another color.
What a pretty color, though.
I know, but it's not forever.
I'm gonna keep trying, though.
You're gonna get it as soon as I get another color.
I am.
Okay, let's see if I can open this one. Hey, look at that! First try. Okay, so this one's less of a brown and more of kind of a purplish, but since I'm just trying to bring up some shadows on this, I think it'll still work. Say it's purple in honor of Corvus.
There you go.
Alright, so I just have a little bit of the nail polish out on my tile, and I'm going to take my toothpick, which if you don't do a lot of really tiny work, you may not know that toothpicks are a great hack.
Yes, they are.
For getting colors into small places. And what I want to kind of do is lay the color, and then I want to kind of scoop most of it out so I don't have like huge amounts of purple, but I just have a little bit, like I said, a little bit of detailing on that. I'm just going to do a little bit down here in the jawline. Yeah, they're so useful. So while I'm doing this, I can remind everyone that tomorrow night is Zoom night. The email did go out, including our new peeps, for Zoom Crafty Cocktail Hour. That happens tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. And I'm going to be actually doing a makeup test for my Raven makeup that I'm going to be wearing on Saturday on stream. So that's actually what I'm going to be doing during Crafty Cocktail Hour, is painting my face. I really should keep a roll of paper towels back here. Okay, so I think I have my nervous Corvid. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Don't be nervous. We're not caging corvids on this stream. We are caging humans for corvids to devour. So we are a very pro-corvid stream. Okay, and so then I'm just going to take some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and just kind of wipe down the surface of that, so that I just have my detailing in all of the crevices. So once again, just a little bit to kind of give some contrast there. So now I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm not going to wipe that up quite yet because I might need it. So now I'm going to do my little eye rhinestones. So I have two rhinestones that fit into the eye sockets of my skull. And I have this tool, which this is a godsend if you're working with rhinestones. And this one's very old. I bought this from a gal who, this is her branded name, Crystal Katana. Many years ago, but now they're producing these all over the place for nail artists and such. But what it's got is it's got some sticky wax on this side, not too sticky, just sticky enough to pick something up with, and then it's got a little pushy thing on this side that you can press your piece into place with. Let's see. Of course Corvus is gathering a murder. What else would she be doing? As far as, by the way, my own personal murder goes, I did finish the raven wings for my cats. However, every time I try and put them on Elton, I think he thinks that there's a large bird trying to attack him because he runs away. So the jury is still out on whether I will be able to get them on Elton for Halloween. So stay tuned for updates on that. Okay, so like I said, I'm using CA glue. Normally I would use epoxy, but I want it to dry fast. So I'm just going to put a dot of CA glue in the eye socket right there. Make sure I don't have too much in there. And then I'm going to take one of my rhinestones and pick it up on my crystal tool and just drop it into that eye socket and just give it a little tap to set it in place. So I was thinking before I did this that this looked a little over the top, all this shadowing that I did. Now that I've got the eyes in, or the eye, uno eye at the moment, I'm very happy with it. This is much more the look that I was going for. I'll probably take this other one and pop it out of the cage and do something similar to it, just because I mean it's just so, it reads just so much better with that. Dogsy, I would like to put forth the opinion that Corvus is very murder focused every day. Just putting that out there. Alright, and I'm going to do the same thing in the other eye socket. Just a little dab of CA glue in there. You want to make sure you don't use too much, because if you use too much of any glue, CA glue, epoxy, whatever, it's going to come up and over your stones, and it's going to dry over them, and it's going to dull them. They won't sparkle anymore. Yeah, I always wanted to put a costume on Ziggy, and decided I liked having all of my limbs attached to my body, so I never tried it. Elton is a much sweeter boy than Ziggy ever was. Ziggy was a special child. There we go. So there's my two sparkly eyes. So I'm going to put that aside to dry for a minute while I'm getting my wires together. And I think I don't need to... Alright, I think I'm done with my nail polish, so I can get rid of that. Yeah, so I always, every time that, I think it was actually, maybe it was last year that Target really started intensely advertising cat costumes, in addition to dog costumes, which I'm all for parody as far as animal costumes go, like all animals deserve costumes, but there was a lobster costume that I really, really wanted to get for Ziggy, but once again, I really liked my blood in my veins, so I never tried it. Elton's much sweeter boy than Ziggy, but he's just so skittish still. So this may just not be the right time. It may have to be next Halloween. But I am very proud of my homemade raven wings, which I don't have a good picture of, because it was too late for me to get actual kitty raven wings by Saturday. So I got bat wings, and then I covered them in black feathers. Yeah, it's reflecting a lot. There we go. So they turned out really good. I will have to check that out, Dogsy. Oh, and Elton was supervising the making of his wings. He's such a sweet boy. He's opening up so much more, which is awesome. Like I said, still skittish, which, considering that he was a street cat who got hit by a car, is not surprising. But he's such a sweetheart. Okay. Yeah, Ziggy didn't even wear a collar for the last 4 or 5 months of his life, because I could not keep a collar on that cat to save my life. Like, I started buying them by the dozen, because, you know, I would put one on him with his tag, and we'd be all good for a couple weeks, and then he'd come home naked. Another collar on him, and then a few days after that, naked again. He was a very nudist cat. He was not into the collars. Okay, so I've got my 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut myself. Okay, so how many did I use for this? I used 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I used half a dozen pieces. That's way more than I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and go with 4 pieces of wire, and I'm going to cut them a little longer than I need. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces at about 10 inches long, because I can always cut off what I don't need. This is craft wire, so it's not very expensive. So 4 pieces at 10 inches long. Yeah, Ziggy was not the smartest kitty in the classroom. He was just such a big, complicated, loving, and also slashy doofus. I miss his asshole face so much. I have decided though I'm gonna get, so this is, y'all are gonna laugh at me. This is one of the last scratches that Ziggy gave me on my arm. Right there. And I think I'm gonna get a cat paw scratching tattoo over it as my Ziggy memorial tattoo. There's another scratch that was from the same incident that's right here, but I thought that would be a little morbid because it really does look not so good. So we're gonna let that one fade. But I'm thinking I'm gonna get a little, just a tiny little simple cat scratch tattoo there. Okay, so I've got my 4 pieces at 10 inches long, and I'm going to cut one more piece at 6 inches long. This is just going to be to bind the bottom together. So I'm going to take my wires, and I'm going to hold them all together, and I'm going to even up the ends as best I can. Make sure that they're decently smooth so that you can get them sitting next to each other. Also, Nervous Corvid, we have a Discord. We would love for you to join. There is a whole pet photos channel, so you can show pictures if you want to of your kitties. And Heather's put the Discord invite in the Twitch chat because she's amazing and is brilliant at multitasking. I could do that too, Lori. I'm thinking, you know, since it's on my forearm, I want it to be kind of subtle. So I'm thinking just like a really tiny little paw with like 3 scratch marks. One of them being the original scar and then like 2 more tattooed beside it. As once again, I don't think I want to get them on my wrist because that's a little morbid. And the other scar I have from that incident is on my lip, and that's not really prime tattoo real estate either, at least not for me. Okay, so I've got my 4 pieces of wire lined up like so, and I'm going to take my 6-inch piece of wire and I'm going to find about the middle of these wires. I'm going to hold that piece of wire perpendicular to my other wires, and I'm going to hold it nice and firmly, and I'm just going to wrap it around. And you don't want to wrap it so tightly that your wires get bundled up like mine are doing now. I'm thinking when I squish this, they'll probably go back flat. That's my hope. Yeah, add a nice tattoo to your face. Very trendy. Don't know that that would go over really well with the Highland Park crowd. But seriously considering the cat scratch. The other thing I'm considering is I've got my little ohm here, which is so incredibly faded. That I want to get that touched up and to do the ohm and Hamsa hand and then an evil eye, but in an evil eye in the color of Ziggy's eye. So that's my other thought. And that's a little bit less obtrusive, so I might go with that one, but I just, well, first of all, right now I'm spending money I don't even have on tattoos, but at some point I will have money for that. Okay, so I'm trimming off my ends, and then we're going to see if this works. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to try and crimp this so that all of these wires go back to being flat next to each other. Okay, and it worked pretty well. There's still a little overlapping, but I think that's workable. And then when you crimp, notice your ends are going to kind of wing out a bit, so I'm just going to pull those back in and press them down. Now I'm going to take all my wires and I'm just going to spread them all out, so I kind of have like wires going all around the 360 degrees of my circle. So I kind of made a spider of wire here. It's very seasonally appropriate. It's like the extreme daddy long legs of spiders. It could also be a hat. Yes, very long legs. Yes. Luckily, all the ones I want are small, which means that they're not going to be stupidly expensive. But still, food, tattoo, food, tattoo. Food's probably the better choice. Alright, so now I'm going to grab my skull, which is, hopefully the eyes are dry on that, and I'm going to put my skull in my wire spider. So I'm going to just set it chin down right on top of that wire wrap, and with the shape of this skull, it's going to work better if I set that long ways rather than crossways, because it can kind of nestle right under the little jaw, not jar, goodness. Yay! Yay, house goblins, can't wait to see. Actually, hold on, want to see right now, then we'll get back to tutorial. Okay, no fair, Heather's seeing them before me. You are so fast. Oh my gosh, so much cuteness. Oh, they're adorbs. I love the plep is adorable, but the whichever one it is who's like, ah, love that one. Right? Seriously. Okay, so back to project now that I've seen nervous corvids. House goblins, who are freaking adorable. Okay, so I'm setting my skull right on that wire wrap, and this is the part where you're gonna wish you had a third hand that would extend from somewhere in your chest and help you with this, because you really, I always wish I had 3 hands to hold it. So once you get it set so you can hold it with 2 fingers on your, I use my right hand because it's more dexterous than my left hand because I'm right-handed. Then I'm going to take my left hand and I'm just going to gather, see, I'm going to gather all of these up, but I need this to stay while I'm doing that. Okay, so I'm gathering all of these up to the top. Okay, so this is what's probably going to happen if you've got something narrow like this, is you don't want to just start by poking out. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit that back down and you're going to take these wires and you're going to move them around so that they're holding your skull in. So you want to make sure that no matter what direction you're looking at it from, that it's got wires holding it in from all sides. So I'm just kind of fanning these out again to make sure that they are hugging my little scully. Okay, there. You go there. Yeah, okay. So that's about what we want. And the idea of this pendant is it looks like a cage. That's why I have bars in front of the skull. If you're doing it on a rock, you can usually use some of the features on the rock itself to help hold it in. So now we're going to do the bail. So there are a number of ways you can do this. On Heather's rock, she had actually twisted up a bail. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. On this, I'm going to take one wire, doesn't really matter which one, and I'm going to go around all of these wires and bind them together. Okay, like so. So now, theoretically, my skeleton should be secure. I should be able to shake it, move it around, and it shouldn't come out. And then I can cut off this wire here. That's the one that I wrapped around. Doesn't really matter where you cut it off because it's gonna wind up getting covered anyway. So now I'm gonna take the rest of these and I'm gonna just kind of spread them out a bit so I have sort of a fan shape. And I want that fan shape to be fronted on the front of my skull, which means that you actually need to change the positions of those two groups. And then I'm gonna grab, I could grab my round nose pliers, but I want something that's just a little bit bigger, but not as, there we go, not as big as the pen that I used for this morning's tutorial. But I want something cylindrical, and I'm just going to take those wires and bend them over my cylindrical piece, and that's going to make my bail. Now, one at a time, and I'm going to keep my cylindrical piece in there for my first wrap, just to make sure that everything stays. And I want to bring all of these in. So I'm going to just take, maybe not yet. I'm just going to take my pliers and give these a bend so that when I bring this wire around, I can catch that bend, give it a yank, and just bring all those wires in nice and tight together. And then I'm just going to wrap that all the way around. Like so. And you can either cut off the end or just tuck it in. If your bail's a little on the wonky side, you can grab your cylindrical object, or even better, you can grab a tapered mandrel. This one of the most useful tools that I've ever bought is this little mandrel. So you can bring it in there and just kind of round out your bail. Since the mandrel is tapered, you're going to need to go from both sides. Okay, so now I've got a nice round bail. So now, what do I do with all the rest of these wires? You have options. What I chose to do on my sample was what I'm going to do tonight, and I'm going to wrap them all around. So I'm going to create this kind of cool, bulky, top wrap on my pendant. So, just going to start wrapping them around. If you don't like the bulky look, and I'm going to save my end tucking in for the ends, for the end of the project. Haha. If you don't like that bulky look, you can at this point, as long as you've bound your wires tightly enough, you can cut them off, but this is the more secure way to go, because this way you're actually physically finishing off each wire. Alright, so now that everything's been wrapped around, I'm just going to trim all my ends and tuck them in. Hey! I don't think I ever said hi, Keiko. Hi, Keiko! Maybe I did. Okay, so I've got all my ends cut, and then I'm just going to tuck them in. Now the thing about colored wire is usually colored wire is copper wire that's been coated with a color. That means when you cut it, what?
I can't.
I think it just needs to go in the trash. So you see that copper? So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to just try and face that to the inside of the design so it doesn't pull focus. Alas, poor Grand Teton Topaz. Farewell. Oh my god, putting on laundry and making a salad. You're so industrious. Alright, pressing my ends in. Come on. What kind of salad? Not that it's not going to sound appealing to me no matter what, but I bet it'll sound appealing to Heather.
It will.
She the veggie one. I am not. My waistline would be nicer if I were. Just keeps expanding.
Oh, I'll still take it though.
So this is the putziest part of the process, is just make sure all these ends are tucked in so you can't see the copper. You could also take some black nail polish or a Sharpie and blacken down the ends of those if you didn't want that to be seen. I have neither of those things within arm's reach, so we're just going to go with this and say that is it. So the definition that I did on the skull, I think, does a really good job of making it much more obvious what it is inside of the cage. And so you can now put this on a chain and wear it to terrify your friends and your enemies. So thanks so much for hanging out with us for Crow's Cage Pendant. Come on, focus on the thing. Yeah, it does, nobody wants to look at me. Focus on the pendant. Nope, not gonna do it. But thanks for hanging out with us for Crow's Cage Pendant, and continuing once again our 2 weeks of, yes, thank you, Keiko. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna pop this one out of the cage and do the same thing to it, because yeah, it just reads so much better with the little bit of contrast. So
awesome.
well, would have been awesomer if I could have gotten the brown nail polish open, but
look,
you know. Alright, so I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. That has been our Crow's Cage Pendant tutorial on our 2 weeks of Halloween. Tomorrow night, we will not be on Facebook. We will not be on Twitch. You will find us on Zoom. It's Zoom Crafty Cocktail Hour tomorrow night, starting at 6 p.m. Central, going until 8 p.m. Central. It is an open crafting time, so come whenever you want, leave whenever you want. And I will actually be makeuping during that, and Heather, I'm sure, will be crafting on something cool.
Possibly part of my costume. We'll see.
There you go. It could be Halloween crafts costume cocktail hour.
Yes.
That's that. So we'll see y'all tomorrow night on Zoom. Heather did send out the email with the Zoom credentials. If you didn't get it and you need the Zoom credentials for tomorrow, just email us beadingdreamsdallas@gmail.com. We will be happy to send them to you.
They are also posted in Discord for those of you who are on our Discord under events.
Okay.
It's the same.
Fantastic. And then Saturday, we will be back here on Twitch with the Severed Barbie Hand tutorial and a live merchandise sale for which I will caffeinate and hopefully be a lot more efficient than I was last night. For now, that's it for us this evening. Thank y'all so much. Yay, Keiko. Thank y'all so much for hanging out, and we will see you all on Zoom tomorrow and back on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdream, 6 p.m. on Saturday. Bye, y'all. Thanks.